In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use color grading to enhance the mood of your footage. Let's get started.
This is how to film a YouTube video or anything.
In last week's tutorial, you'll remember that we used camera movement as an important element in telling the story and setting the mood for our scene. In this week's tutorial, we want to further the process by looking at color grading. And using a couple of shots that we used from last week's, let's just go ahead and further enhance them to get the mood that we're looking for. Now in these two scenes, you remember in the first one we wanted to get kind of an apprehensive cold look, and we had a little bit of camera shake to help us accomplish that. In the second one we wanted a much warmer look, and we have a much more stable shot. Now let's go ahead and look at some color grading and try to enhance that mood even further. Okay, in the first one, we want to have a much colder look. So the first thing I want to do is just bring up the fast color corrector. Come over to the effects control panel, type in fast. There it is. Drag fast color corrector onto the footage. Now that brings up a nice color wheel for us. The main thing I want to do here is just to show you that color grading is important. Now, as this name implies, fast color corrector is just kind of the quick and dirty way to do this. If you really want to get serious about your color correcting, you might look at a program such as Adobe Speed Grade or DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve, by the way, is available for a free download. You want to make sure your CPU is pretty beefed up to use it though. And you can search that on the internets. And actually, the first thing I want to do is go down to the input levels and bump up the blacks a little bit. So you can see as I bump this up, it really makes the blacks black. That's going to increase our contrast. We don't need to overdo it in this particular case. So just a little bit, and then the same thing on the white inputs is to, this can really blow out our whites. And for this particular one, we don't need to get crazy with it. So that's what I want to do. I just bump the contrast a little bit. Then we go up to the color wheel, and I want to take this puck in the middle and move it toward the blue section. As we make the picture more blue, it really brings a cool look to, a nice wintry look to our picture. This one here also adjusts the magnitude, so we can get kind of crazy with it, but that's not what we're looking for. Just a little dabble do you. The blacks can go to blue a little bit in this case, but I don't want to get crazy. You can do fine-tune adjustments down here too. So we might even back that gain off a little. I just need a little bit there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now, the other thing I might do is just drop the saturation a little bit, just give it a desaturated look. In fact, I'm just gonna, let's see. The saturation is basically the color level, so if you're, if I reduce it completely, it goes to black and white. If I bump it up, it oversaturates, starts to look like a Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland or something like that. But I want a slightly desaturated look, so let's go around 80. And I'm kind of liking that. Okay, so now that enhances our mood to a more cold feel. So if you want to see what it looked like before, you can just turn this effect off by hitting this FX button there. This is the original footage. And after we affected it, it just became a lot colder, you'll see. Okay, now we want to do the opposite with our other footage. We want to warm this one up because this is a much warmer summer feel. And so this time, we're going to do something a little different. Just for fun, let's use the RGB curves. Effect, RGB, there it is. And I'm going to drag that onto here. This is a kind of a different way of doing the same thing. But what I want to do in this one is bring the brightness up. So this white line is the master. It's, affects all the colors. And then we also, instead of, you'll remember in the last one we brought the blues up, and this one we want to bring the reds up and give it more of an orange tone. And on these, a little dab will do you. You know, it's easy to overdo it. That's not what we're looking for. But just bringing it up a little bit, and you know, you can play with them a little bit. But I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so that really warms it up. I'll bring the greens up just a little more. And basically you just want to get something that you're comfortable with. So, okay, now that we've warmed it up, I want to try one more trick. I want to add a little bit of soft focus to this. So what I'm going to do is take this footage right here. I'm going to hit Command-C to copy it. And I am going to make a Command-V to paste it. Now this one is an exact duplicate. I'm going to put it right over the top. And what I'm going to do to this layer is leave everything how it is and add a Gaussian blur. So there it is. Slap it on there. That comes down to the bottom of the effects panel. And I'm just going to bump that up to, not too much, maybe like 12. And then you can see that just kind of made our picture all blurry, which, you know, looks kind of bad. But what we're going to do is drop the opacity of this to about half. So I'm going to put 50% in there. And that's not so bad, but I'm also going to change the blend mode to lighter color right here. Now we have a little bit softer focus on this, but it doesn't look like we had finger smudges all over the lens when we shot it or something. It just is a nice subtle effect. Now one last trick I want to do here is also just brighten this whole area as if it was a lot sunnier. There was more light coming in. And to do that, I'm going to create a white matte. So new item, color matte, click OK, and let's make it white. We'll just go to pure white, and we can call it white. Okay, and I'm going to drag it on top of the other footage, and it just kind of erases everything. But that's okay, because what we're going to do is put a mask on it. We're going to invert that mask. And then the part I want to preserve is our actress's face. And then the other thing I'm going to do is expand that mask out. So just take that expansion out quite a ways. And then I'm just going to feather the heck out of it. So hit that feather till it comes back in, surrounding it. Something like that. Okay, so now we have all this whiteness around here, but it, you know, that looks kind of bad. But not to fear, what we're going to do is we'll drop the opacity for one thing. So let's drop that clear down to 50, maybe 40%, 42, how's that? 41, 42. And we're also going to play with the blend mode. So we'll change the blend mode on this one to overlay. And now you can see that just kind of brightened up the whole scene as if there was just more light out there. Now if we wanted, we can come back and make this a little bit more orange. And that would bring it even warmer. So I'm going to take the second layer, which is about at 50%, and just warm it up just a little bit more. And that's kind of what we're looking for here. So you can see this scene has all of a sudden got a lot warmer look to it. This scene is very cold. Now this is really amazing because we shot this on the same day with the same camera, only minutes apart in the same location. But through now camera movement in the last tutorial and color grading in this tutorial, we have created two separate moods. I want you to come back next week, and then we're going to add some sound effects and some music, and that's just going to enhance our mood even more. Okay, well, that's it for this week. I'm Jeff McClellan. This is Grasshopper Cinema and How to Film Anything. We'll see you next Monday.